Greetings, everyone, and welcome to this edition of Don Hammond's Arlington Weekly News. I'm Craig Nolan. Thanks for joining us.
Hi, Craig.
Hey, Daniel.
I'm Daniel Pineda.
What's happening?
How are you?
And my name's Adele Quo.
Here we go with our show for the last, is it the last
Second
show?
to last.
Second, our next to the last show in the last month of 2018. Having a little problem with my button here. I should just let it go, I guess.
Wardrobe malfunction.
We thank you for joining us. Let me see here. News and Community Bulletin Board coming your way. And as you may have noticed, Adele is here for another
She's finally back.
Of
It's Easy Being Green.
Yes, it is.
Yeah,
Just like we practiced it. Holy cow. CBB, as I mentioned, a roll-in. Denise is here. Is she here tonight? Yes, she is. Well, via the
She's here
miracle
twice.
of videotape.
Twice.
She's here twice talking about Indecent. And then again, she's here with a zombie. So 2 appearances from Denise tonight, our News for Seniors segment. And that's our show. But before we begin, social media reminder time here from Senor Panay.
Well, Mr. Craig Knoll, and you can watch the Arlington Weekly News
okay.
on our very own YouTube channel.
I
That's
missed it.
youtube.com/Arlington Weekly News. And the number 1, also facebook.com/Arlington Weekly News. You were a little late there.
And the number 1.
How's the
Sorry.
audio?
All
The
right.
audio.
Audio, check, mic check.
Radio.
Here we go. All right, on the radio. Absolutely. You can also hear the fine goings-on here on the Arlington Weekly News on WERA 96.7 LPFM. So we're in your eye and in your ear now. How about that? Here we go with the first of our news items. Well, let's start off with the holiday closings so everyone can make their plans for the holidays. Arlington County government, their offices, courts, libraries, and facilities will be closed both on Monday, December 24th, and Tuesday, Christmas Day, December 25th. That'll make a nice 4-day weekend for most of the folks. Public schools will be closed for 2 weeks, starting Monday, the 24th, and running through Friday, January 4. Regular classes will resume on Monday, January 7, 2019. On the plus side, metered parking will not be enforced in either on the 24th or the 25th, which might help with some very last minute shopping. So what do you say about that, Daniel?
Well, Craig, on to our second news story for tonight. Well, trash collection is a little bit tricky this year. There will be no trash collection on Tuesday, December the 25th, and regular collections will be delayed by 1 day for the remainder of the week. That means if Tuesday is your normal collection day, trash won't be picked up until Wednesday. Regular Wednesday collection will take place on Thursday and so on. Also, much delivery and collection will be unavailable.
Much delivery?
What?
Mulch. You forgot the L.
Mulch.
Your favorite
You
word.
stand- That's all right. Here we go with the next of our news items. The Arlington County Newsroom recently released a story called Arlington Readies for a Winter of Possibilities. The article stated that in the event of inclement weather, winter weather, Arlington, and we're quoting now, Arlington will be ready to fight back with several potent tools. The article mentioned a new 6,000-ton salt storage structure at the intersection of Old Dominion and 25th Street North. The article also said something about the off-season acquisition of an additional anti-icing machine. So there's some stuff out there ready to fend off winter. Do you have more on that, Daniel?
Yep, part 2.
Part 2.
Well, however, the Arlington County Newsroom article did not include an item that appeared in the Waycroft Woodlawn newsletter for December the 2018. Arlington has cut out funding for the neighborhood snow blowers on loan from the county. The borrowed snow blowers had enabled local volunteers to clear sidewalks and driveways for the elderly, the disabled, and other county residents in need of assistance with snow removal. Glen Carlin lost their loaner snow blower last year. It appears that the public's awareness of the state of Arlington's snow readiness depends upon whose news they read.
All right, thank you, Daniel. And that's it. That's it for our news items. Short,
Wow, that was short but sweet.
Short list of the news items tonight. Well, there's more. We have CBB and News for Seniors
Mulch
coming up.
more.
And mulch more. mulch more. Right after we hear from Adele and another edition of
It's Easy Being Green.
Here's Adele.
Oh, hey, welcome back. And it is wintertime, so it's a little bit harder being green, but it's still easy being green. And Joe Tree Frog and friends here would like humans to take a moment during the holidays to think about the poor flora and fauna that have to face a cold, harsh winter and their association with Christmas. So while we're sipping some hot mulled cider, let's muse on some interesting history of holly and ivy at Christmas time. The ancient people were closer to the earth than 21st century urban folk, and they paid closer attention to plant relationships. During the dead of winter, a walk in the woods by the ancients reveals a remarkable green ivy vine twining itself around an evergreen holly tree with bright red berries, both shining green among the otherwise dreary landscape. Thus, ancient cultures believe these plants imbued with magical powers. Remaining green year-round signifies eternal life. Holly and ivy were originally used in pre-Christian times to help celebrate the winter solstice festival, to ward off evil spirits such as witches and ghosts, and to celebrate new growth. In pagan times, holly was thought to be a male plant and bring men good luck and protection, and ivy was the female plant counterpart to the holly. Hence, the holly and the ivy will remain intertwined for ages, not only in the forest, but also in song. In the early 19th century, a traditional British Christmas carol called The Holly and the Ivy refers to old fertility myths. As Christianity spread throughout Western Europe, the UK and Germany were the main countries to keep the use of greenery to decorate their homes, plus give it new Christian meanings. Today, holly is known as Christdorn in German, meaning Christ's thorn. The prickly leaves of holly symbolize the crown of thorns that Jesus wore when he was crucified. And the bright red berries are the drops of blood that were shed by Jesus for the sins of humankind. Today, English ivy is no longer popular. It's invasive and can form dense growth on trees and also harm the host tree. Even historically, ivy is unusual from holly and other holiday greenery because it's also associated with death and melancholy as well as rebirth. Ivy has to cling to something to support itself as it grows. So this reminds us that we need to cling to God for support in our lives. Stay tuned. Next week, we bring you a special story on kissing under the mistletoe. Da, da, da,
Bring out the
da.
mistletoe, the holly, and the ivy.
Yes, more plant greenery stories.
And even though the ivy, was it the ivy that was supposedly that they thought it was provided male prowess or whatever, they're both female names.
The ivy was the female counterpart. Maybe that helped the male.
Oh, it's the other way
prowess.
around. Oh, the holly was the male.
You know, you need the woman
Right.
to
Hey, that's
Who knows?
true.
How did we get to this?
Adam and Eve. How did it come
Hey.
down to this?
symbolism.
That's it. Thanks, Adele.
Thank
We
you, Adele.
appreciate it. As always, your EBG segment. Here we go with our, as promised, our CBB Community Bulletin Board file. Number 1, Druids and non-Druids alike are invited to attend the upcoming Solstice Eve hike and campfire. This includes a whole family with children ages 3 and up, and they can celebrate the longest night of the year with candle making, marshmallow making, and of course, s'mores. That'll be followed by a little hike under the full moon, and it all takes place on Friday, December 21st from 7 to 8 p.m. at Gulf Branch Nature Center and Park, 3608 North Military Road. Admission is $5 for this one, still not bad, a nominal fee. For more information and registration, give them a call at the number on your screen. Here we go, 703-228-3403. Daniel.
Well, Craig, some folks loved it, some folks hated it, but its reputation has grown over time and its influence is undeniable. We're talking about A Christmas Story, the 1983 film based on a collection of stories by Gene Shepard, originally titled In God We Trust, All Others Pay Cash. It's an odd mix of cynicism and sentimentality, but its narrative approach to storytelling from a kid's point of view was echoed in the TV show The Wonder Years and even resonated into the more recent How I Met Your Mother. You can discover it or rediscover it on Thursday, December the 20th from 2 to 4 p.m. in the Westmont Room at the Columbia Pike Branch Library. That's located at 816 South Walter Reed Drive. Craig.
And Daniel, also in our CVB file, Gil Klein, the author of Trouble in Lafayette Square, will be discussing his book and sharing little-known historical facts that have taken place, or events that have taken place in Lafayette Square across from the White House. This is a free event and it will take place Wednesday, December 19 from 2 to 3 in the afternoon at Aurora Hills Senior Center, located at 735 18th Street South. To register and find out more about it, give them a call at the number on your screen and in your ear now, 703-228-5722. Daniel.
Well, it's the season of giving. It's good to remember that food is scarce for local birds and wildlife. Here's a chance for families with kids age 4 and up to help out by making edible garlands and ornaments to hang on trees in the park. However, you can also make an extra ornament for the wildlife outside your home. This free event will take place on Saturday, December the 22nd from 2:30 to 4:30 p.m. at the Long Branch Nature Center at Glen Carlin Park. That's located at 625 South Carlin Springs Road. Craig.
All right, stick around. News for Seniors coming up. What would our show be without News for Seniors right after we hear from Denise and her thoughts on indecent?
Here's a review submitted by Denise Pringle. Indecent, a play by Paula Vogel, now playing at a Regis stage, is inspired by another play, God of Vengeance, written by Sholem Asch in 1907. It enjoyed success in Warsaw, Berlin, Moscow, and other European cities, but when it opened on Broadway in 1923, its entire cast and producer were arrested for obscenity. Written in Yiddish, it's about an Orthodox Jewish man who runs a brothel. He is attempting to arrange a marriage for his daughter, but becomes enraged when he finds out that she is in love with one of his prostitutes. The entire cast of Indecent plays a troupe of actors who take God of Vengeance on tour. Standouts are Ben Cherry, who plays Lemmel, the stage manager, Emily Shackelford as the daughter, and Susan Linsky as the prostitute. 3 of the actors, including Alexander Sovronsky, play instruments and play original music composed by him. The music lends definite vitality to the show and gives it an authentic sound that transports you to a prior century. Songs and dialogue are delivered in English, Yiddish, and German, and translations are provided via projections. Set design includes rough-hewn beams that can be manipulated to suggest prosceniums of different stages and serve as a screen for the productions. Director Eric Rosen uses simple movement and props like suitcases to suggest the world travels of the troupe. In one moment, the cast is lined up to take their bows at the end of a performance. Then, with one unison turn, they morph into a line of immigrants waiting to enter another country. The troupe takes exceptions to the script changes for American audiences, and Ash blames his lack of proficiency in the English language for allowing them to happen. There is much talk of eliminating the rain scene, robbing the play of its most tender love scene. When it is finally played at Arena, including an actual waterfall, it is gentle and sweet and loving, and might bring many thoughts to mind, but lewd or indecent is not among them. This play within a play, written 100 years ago, features many troubling themes. Anti-Semitism, homophobia, and censorship are all addressed. The tragedy is that these themes may be found in any newspaper in our country today. When will we start to learn from history?
Indecent plays through December 30th at Arena Stage. I'm Denise Pringle. Now back to the news desk.
You don't pay attention.
And we're back. Thanks to little audio difficulties there. We heard Mr. Heff, and then we heard from Denise as well, but we got it done. Good job back there in the control room. Okay, here we go as promised now. News for Seniors glass is in place. Amazing. News for Seniors. Take 1, number 1. The Langston Brown Chorale will be joined by 5 other Northern Virginia encore chorales and encore rocks choruses for its annual holiday concert sponsored by the Arlington Office of Senior Adult Programs. The singers are all over age 55 and have been entertaining audiences for over 12 years. Pardon me. All ages are welcome to attend, and there is no admission. It's a freebie, FREE free. This concert takes place on Tuesday, December 18 from 7:30 to 8:30 in the evening at George Washington Masonic National Memorial, located at 101 Callahan Drive in Alexandria. For more information and to find out how to get there and all that sort of stuff, give them a call at the number on your screen, 703-228-4878. Daniel.
Well, Craig, comedy club members will be watching and listening to classic comedy, including jokes, humorous poems, cartoons, short stories, movie clips, and excerpts from the radio and television programs from the past, like the Dick Van Dyke Show, Caesar's Hour, Stan Freberg, and many more. The group meets monthly. How can you become a member, you might ask? Well, just show up. This time, it's on Wednesday, December the 19th, from 11:30 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. at the Aurora Hills Senior Center. That's located at 735 18th Street South. For more information, give them a call at 703-228-5722.
And Daniel, also news for seniors. Studies show that certain foods may help prevent disease or help manage specific medical conditions. A Humana Health representative will share information about these superfoods. That's coming up Tuesday, December 18 from 10 to 11 in the AM portion of the day at Walter Reed Community and Senior Center, located at 2909 16th Street South. For more information and to register, call them at this number, 703-228-0955. Daniel.
Well, Craig, Arlington Mills Senior Center is hosting an ugly sweater holiday soiree for single seniors. Note that we said ugly sweater, not ugly singles. That would just be mean. There will be fun games, refreshments, and time to make new friends. The party is free and will take place on Wednesday, December the 19th from 7 to 9 p.m. That's at the Arlington Mill Community and Senior Center, located at 909 South Dinwiddie Street. If you need any more information, give them a call at 703-228-7369. And as always, Craig, we want to thank our own Judy Masomny for helping us out with this year's stories. She does always a great job, and we appreciate her dedication and loyalty. Thanks, you.
Judy. We appreciate it. We'll be back with sign-off and bye-bye on this pre-Christmas edition of Don Hammond's Arlington Weekly News right after we hear from part 2 of Denise and her thoughts. Here's Denise.
Beautiful, the Carole King musical fills the National Theater with the distinctive percussive piano stylings of Carole King. The story focuses on King's early years, starting with her love of music and her determination to sell her songs. It chronicles her meeting Jerry Goffin, who wrote the lyrics to her music and became her first husband, and Mary Mann and Cynthia Weil, who were their friends and rivals in a songwriting firm. They churned out so many memorable hits of the 60s and 70s for groups like the Shirelles, the Drifters, and the Righteous Brothers. It celebrates the highs of her first marriage, then bravely tells of its breakdown, her divorce and move to California, which gave birth to her solo career and the fabulous success of her Tapestry album. It's an energetic evening of great music that will have King's contemporaries remembering their youth, and those jukeboxes and teenage hangouts, and the home stereos with headphones replaying the songs of those songwriting teams. Younger attendees who more clearly remember her Kennedy Center winner fame and Troubadour reunion tours with James Taylor will love the quick history lesson of her early career. The scenic design captures the frenetic pace of the songwriting offices and the glitz and glamour of the performance venues, which are in opposition to her suburban homemaking efforts. Costume design follows the singers from studio to stage with one particularly dazzling quick change scene for the Shirelles. You'll be awed. There is not a weak voice in this cast, but special acknowledgement must go to Sarah Brockle, who not only sings King's hits, but also captures her personal growth from reluctant songwriter to the polished and powerful natural woman solo artist she becomes. Dylan S. Wallach manages to find the good in Goffin that explains how their professional endeavors could continue after his caddish behavior ended their marriage. Jacob Heimer plays up Mann's hypochondria for laughs, to offset his drive and rivalry. Allison Whitehurst is competent and steady as Mann's songwriting and lifetime partner, Vile. Beautiful continues at National Theatre through December 30th. Surely you've got a friend. Make plans with them to see this truly engaging musical. I'm Denise Pringle, and I'll be back in just a minute with another review.
As a kind of public service, I'd like to present an alternate review of sorts, not of a stage show, but of several theatrical audiences over the years. Their behavior, in the aggregate, constitutes a kind of entertainment all its own. One problem that playwrights have is the creation of a good beginning. It's not easy to suddenly jar an audience into some fictional setting without some sort of warm-up or easing-in process. However, a gradual transition is often facilitated by certain audience members who arrive late, or who, as the play is getting underway, decide that they really need to remove a coat or change seats. These little reminders that we're really in a theater, watching a bunch of actors, can help the other audience members avoid the strain of a too sudden entry into the world of make-believe. Once the play is finally rolling along, and the action and the dialogue pick up, the crackling dialogue on stage is often punctuated by the crackling sounds of plastic water bottles being squeezed by certain members of the audience as they attempt to extract a last drop of refreshment. The rustling of paper or plastic bags containing lozenges or candies also provides a diverting counterpoint. Of course, no modern theatrical experience is complete without the periodic flashing of illuminated timepieces, text messaging devices, or cell phones. These special audio-visual enhancements really lend a sense of depth and dimension as the entire theater becomes one great big stage. Sometimes, when the action on stage enters a restful mode, the worrisome sense of dragging can be offset by some clever rhythmic thumping on the back of one's chair, courtesy of an audience member in the seat behind, who is diligently rehearsing for a warning video about restless leg syndrome. Finally, a word about extra attendees. Generally, any increase in theater attendance is considered to be desirable. It's good for business. Even non-paying guests can be useful for word-of-mouth advertising. There are two kinds that deserve special mention. The first kind takes the form of a germ or virus that causes its host to cough, sneeze, or otherwise make its presence known. The second kind is the very small child or infant who cannot be expected to comprehend the show being presented or to significantly benefit from the experience, but who is nonetheless brought along so that their crying, talking, or fidgeting does not unduly stress a potential babysitter or other caregiver. One venerable playwright expressed his sentiments as follows: "Suffer the little children to come unto my plays, that the rest of the audience may suffer also." Now, back to Denise.
At Olney Theater Center, A Christmas Carol, a solo performance by Paul Morella, is being mounted for the 9th year. I saw Morella's adaptation several years ago and thought it might be my favorite depiction of the show based on the novella by Charles Dickens. Ebenezer Scrooge is one of my favorite literary characters, so I decided to see this production again to see if Morella's Scrooge still seems so special to me. I am pleased to report that this spellbinding interpretation has only gotten better. I do believe that A Christmas Carol is the quintessential holiday story. Its lesson of the miser's redemption and transformation from a humbug to a humanitarian is still heartwarming 175 years after its debut. Morella's decision to perform it as a solo piece reflects the way that Dickens himself thought the story should be shared. Of course, Morella has developed a distinctive voice for every character, and his Scrooge is less bombastic than some. He's all bluster when he speaks to his nephew Fred or his clerk, Bob Cratchit, but he is meek when confronted by the frightening ghosts who visit him early on Christmas morning. The set is unexpected as well. Most productions show a spare and tidy office and home, But this Scrooge lives in clutter. It seems appropriate that a miser might think that every book and household item might have some value and decide to hoard it. Morella's program notes mentioned that his first attempt at this project was self-produced, so he chose to splurge on compelling sound design. Most of the original work by Edward K. Moser remains, and it is intense and scary, reminding us that this is, after all, a ghost story. He also mentions that the first year he managed the front of the house, taking tickets and seating guests. He still welcomes his guests. Many actors seem to require the quiet time before a performance to get into the head of their character. Paul Morella is well beyond that. He has perfected these roles. So his personable greeting makes the evening seem even more special and intimate. A Christmas Carol plays at Olney Theater through December 30th. Treat yourself to tickets and immerse yourself in this imaginative retelling of a Christmas classic. I'm Denise Pringle. Now back to the news desk.
All right, thanks, Denise. I mean, you know, why not?
And I love the zombie.
Mr. Zombie.
yeah,
there.
what an
Thank you,
appearance.
Mr. Zombie, that was pretty interesting, and unsolicited audience participation out there for some of our theater goers and movie goers.
It was great to have Denise twice in the
Denise
newscast.
twice.
To see her 2 times.
Absolutely. Well, we're nearing the end of our show here tonight, and this is also almost the end of 2018. Holy
It's going
cow,
fast.
Yeah.
really flown by, excuse me, this year. So I can't believe Christmas is just around the corner.
And we'll have a special treat next week, right, Craig?
Next week is
Oh,
our
definitely.
It'll
our
be fun.
big Christmas extravaganza.
Extravaganza.
I guess, Lord willing, and
Maybe
none
we'll
of
see
us
some zombies. I
get
don't
the
know.
flu. Pardon me.
Very interesting
We
character.
may have some zombies.
Yeah.
Well, we may. You never know.
We don't want to spoil the
Well, we
surprise.
better wrap it up before we get into trouble here.
ruin
And he told me not to stretch, so I guess I've stretched enough. That's it. That's it.
Stretch.
So
Stretch it?
thanks for watching this edition of Don Hammond's Arlington Weekly News. Next week, if you're out there, we'll be here and we'll try it all again. Have a safe week. Happy holidays. Bye-bye.